Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
How are we feeling?
Feeling like I'm gonna get blown away.
I know.
This wind is crazy.
It's out of a storybook, really.
In like a bad way though.
Yeah.
I don't like when
It's
my window
spooky.
panes like shudder or I hear a garbage bin blowing down the street like a tumbleweed.
Yeah.
That's how I'm feeling. How are you feeling?
About the same.
Yeah, it's a bit jarring. Kind of came out of nowhere. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a cappuccino, even though I ordered a latte, but hey, it is what it is.
You don't need to air me out like that.
But it was made with love,
Just like you ordered.
just like I ordered.
Yeah.
What are you drinking?
I actually haven't had a sip of it yet. I'm drinking a little iced Americano with some oat milk.
Mm.
Yeah, good.
Go for it.
Okay.
Kick us off.
Well, my roast for you is a light roast. You are really bad at keeping ice in your freezer. And this was the first time in a long time that I came over and went to make myself an iced coffee and didn't have to fight with like 3 different ice trays to get an appropriate amount of ice. And I'm going to give myself a shout out and say that that's because I used ice last night in your freezer for us. And then I filled up all the ice trays and
Thank
made ice
you.
because I knew I wanted an ice beverage this morning.
It's really hard.
It's really not.
It's really hard running a cafe out of your apartment, and people don't talk about that enough. I know that I'm lacking in that department. I could be better. But especially during the winter, I'm like, or like when I'm not drinking iced beverages, I'm like, I'm not putting ice in a ton of things. It's okay to be slacking.
Okay.
Okay, so my roast for you is also a light roast.
Okay.
And it is how you use Spotify playlists. And like for context, Kate will make a playlist and she'll go by season, first of all. So it will be like spring 2022. Good Looking by Suki Waterhouse. That's it. That's the only song. Or like it will be fall 2024.
First of all, it's
2
never
Faye Webster songs.
It's never
That's it.
2024. It's always fall 24.
Oh,
okay?
right. Sorry. I
There's
already
a
messed up.
structure to it.
Right, there's a clear structure.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's just really funny because when we're driving together and I'm in the passenger seat, I'll go onto her Spotify because she's on aux and I'll like try to queue up some songs. Most of the time when this happens, it's like we're on long road trips. So
You've had to resort. You've gone through everything you
gone
want to listen to,
through-
and
yeah.
you're resorting to my playlists.
I've
now.
gone through my own Spotify. I'm like, okay, what good stuff does Kate have saved here?
Uh-huh.
Well, it's one song per season. That's what she has saved.
It's not always one song per
And
season.
it's always fun for me to discover, like, what was the song of, winter 2019,
Well, 2019 actually, it was a whole year. That's all I've got to say on this. Is
When
that
did the seasons start?
20
for you?
For me personally, I discovered seasons in 2020.
Nice.
But before that, I was doing the year-long playlist.
And
that
how
was
many songs were on the year long?
quite a few. Okay. One for every season. Yeah. No, on my year-long playlists, I think I would have like 25, 30 songs.
Okay.
But I'm also like, I'm picky with what songs go on playlists.
No, totally.
But
That's why sometimes you just really need to trim down the list to just one stellar song.
Well, I don't know. Usually I'm trying to curate a vibe. A one song vibe. I don't know. Or I start a vibe and I just don't have anything else to add to it. Like I'm going to, if you don't mind, I'll go on a little tangent. I don't like when a playlist for a season is like all over the place. Like I like when it has like a cohesive vibe or sound. So the problem often that I get into is that I'll add a slower song and then want to add like an upbeat song after it, but then it's like it doesn't work. So I'll be like, you know what, there needs to be like an in-between,
right?
And so then I'll wait for the in-between to present itself in my life.
Come up. Yeah.
And so then I'm just stuck with the one song.
And it's kind of just really like a snapshot in time.
It really is. But then the thing is, when it works,
it's kind of camp. Like I kind of like it. That's why it's a light roast.
Thank you. When it works, it works. Like I have certain playlists like fall 20
I'm gonna have to go back and look at that one.
That one is really good, and the flow on that is really good. From A to Z. I don't know.
Okay, I'm excited to give that one a listen.
Let me think if I have any other ones that are really good. That one's long.
Now that we're talking about it publicly, you should put your, I don't know if your Spotify is on private, but I think you need to put it on public now.
I don't know. It's whatever it auto sets to.
They need to know what was happening fall.
They need to know what was happening
2022.
In winter 24. I'm going to spoil it for you right now. One song by Del Water Gap.
Ode to a Conversation. What is
Stuck in Your Throat?
Stuck in My Head, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. I looked back at your Spotify last night when I was crafting my roast, by the way.
Well, and also, I don't know about you, but I use my on repeat a lot on Spotify. Like when I go to just put music on.
I don't really do that.
Yeah, weird to me.
I listen to like playlists that I've made.
I usually will go, like, if I'm gonna go have a shower or I'm going to cook something and I just want to like put music on, I'll usually go put on my on repeat. The only problem there is that the vibe is jumping all over the place, but I don't really care because it's the stuff that I'm listening to currently.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If the song that I want to listen to from last spring, like, it's not going to be on the forefront of my mind right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
I have to go find it.
I'm a really big like album listener or a playlist listener.
You have a lot of playlists.
I don't really listen to like my recently played or anything, because that's just a jumble of things, and I'm not in the mood for like 5 different vibes at once.
I am. Yeah,
we're just different people.
We are.
That's okay.
At our core, we are the same person, but we are also.
But again, when we say
people.
We're different, this is what we mean.
Yeah, like inside of you, there are 2 wolves. One is Kate, and one is Victoria. And sometimes they're twins, and sometimes they're not.
Yeah. And they use Spotify really differently. Anyways, should we get into our topic for today?
We should. That was a nice rant. I didn't know I had so much to say on Spotify playlists. So today we're going to talk about building community in your 20s.
Yeah. And I think when we say 20s, a lot of what we're going to talk about can be applied at any point in life.
Yeah, totally.
I think it's always kind of relevant. But the reason that we say your 20s is it's kind of like the first time in life that you are forced with creating community on your own, or you're like exiting these structures of community that have already been set out for you.
Yeah, totally. I think like you'll continue to like you'll spend your life building community around you as you move from like job to job, like neighborhood to neighborhood, friend group to friend group. You go through different periods. Like I can only imagine like when you have kids, if you have kids, like that is learning to build a whole different community. There are like different structures in place, but like that's uncharted territory. But totally. And then you're so right. Like we spend our lives for the most part when you're young. And I think we've talked about this a bit in the episode where we talked about like how we met each other, but you spend your lives in school and systems, like support systems that kind of like are set out to bring you purpose and like fulfillment in terms of how you spend your day and what you do and who you spend it with, and like relationships are kind of put on you versus when all of that is gone because you've graduated and you've like left that system, kind of, you need to figure it out.
You're on your own, kid.
You're on your own, kid. So,
and it's scary, but it's also exciting. Like,
totally.
I think back to when I graduated university, and that's when we met. Like, that felt like a very scary time.
It was the most exciting time of your life because you met me.
I felt so fulfilled the second that well, actually, the second we met was much
You don't even
sooner.
know the second that we met.
Yeah.
What do you know about that?
But during that time in my life, I feel like it felt very scary to have to make new friends and like create a new community, or like find people that are also seeking community. But it also felt very exciting. It also felt like, oh my God, like this is the next chapter of my life. So whether you're in that phase in life right now or you're entering a chapter like that, I think that what we're going to chat about today, it's nothing groundbreaking, but I think it's good reminders for whenever you need to kind of like start new, or like maybe you've moved to a new neighborhood or a new city, or you have a new job, or you're kind of like in a situation where you need to create that community for yourself. So growing up, how did you have community in your life? How did community affect you up until now?
Growing up, I think I had a really great community, honestly. I went to a school that I loved, and it was like a small school. We were a lot of like kids who had been there from the very beginning, like small class kind of people. So like it or not, those people were like your community. There weren't like a ton of people at school to be like hanging out with, kind of. But for me, that worked out great. Like I loved that place and I loved my experience there. And
I feel like my school was similar.
Yeah.
It was like you knew everyone in your grade type of
yeah,
thing.
and then it's like, you know, like the sports teams, like, you know, everyone. It's not like like I think about high school, and obviously like in high school I knew everyone like on my like basketball team or whatever, but when you're in grade 9 and there are these kids who are like quite a bit older than you, or like it just feels a little more distanced, if that makes sense. But and like it was a big school and I didn't know anyone, but yeah, like when I was younger, it was just so community, you know, like you know all the teachers and they know you. Like it's a two-way street, I think, of you knowing
they're equally as excited to like know you and like stay up to date with your life.
So that I think was like a huge place for me for community. And I feel like I was active in a lot of like, well, I was like active in a lot of sports. I was active in arts. I was doing a lot of like kind of co-curricular activities. So that also brought this like sense of community that was outside of just like school, or going to class at school. Similarly, I was like fortunate enough to grow up playing sports. So that is such a community because that's completely outside of the like academic structure that's put in place for you. And honestly, that's a community that has like followed me into my adulthood, because all of those kids that I like spent my life skiing with, I don't necessarily like know them anymore. Like we all went in our separate directions, as you do when you know, go to university, go to high school, whenever it is that you kind of branch off from each other. But like I was downtown recently in Toronto, ran into a friend of mine who I haven't seen in years, like honestly could have been a decade.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, like, hey, this is, it's so nice to see you. Like, I see your mom at the grocery store more often than I see you.
Yeah.
But like, how fun, like, what are
really
you doing
sweet
here? And like, it was so nice. So anyways, tangent, but I do find that community, even if we're not like close anymore, it is like, there are little like whispers of it sometimes. Yeah. So that was definitely a big one. Gave my life a lot of meaning, gave my life a lot of structure. And I had a pretty good like neighborhood community as well. My family was friends with like a couple of our neighbors. My brother and I would hang out with them. And then in like fourth grade, fourth grade, my like childhood best friend basically moved next door. So that was awesome because
besties with your neighbor.
Exactly. So
a theme that runs through your life.
Whoa. Yeah. Would you look at that?
Let that sink in. The wind is crazy right now, by the way.
I know. I'm like really quite captivated by it. So
our set is going to blow away anyway.
I think I was really lucky. I felt like I had a lot of community growing up.
That's amazing. And I feel like that's something that like naturally you just kind of carry that throughout the rest of your life, like that desire for creating community or like being in community.
Yeah, and having the feeling of belonging and like a team. I think that's something about sports that I really like, is like you learn the value of a team and you learn the comfort that a team can bring and the support that a team can bring. That is like a very literal way when playing sports, obviously. But I think that like being on a team goes past that, and having a team is having a community. So, yeah. But I know you also were like, you were a sports player.
I was a sports player.
An ambiguous sports player.
Yes.
But do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I feel like I did have a good sense of community through sports. Also, my brother was a big hockey player. Our family's community was kind of like very heavily tied to his hockey team.
Okay.
So just another way that like sport affected my life. But I think when I think about community and like what I am looking for now in my adult life, I think so much of it kind of stems from the way that my parents created community for us growing up. Like I think about our neighborhood. We were very close with our next door neighbor and then our back neighbor, who we shared fences with. And the parents kind of like made a door between the fences so that we could go back and forth between each other's backyards. And beside us, they had like a fire pit. And behind us, they had a pool. So like all the kids would be able to run back and forth between each other's backyards.
Yeah.
And then the parents would be able to like go over for wine nights and like go start a fire. And like it was just awesome. And we're still very close with those neighbors, even though like none of us live in that neighborhood anymore. But I think like that was the first introduction that I had to community and like, I don't know, like living with other people and not just like living around other people, if that makes sense. Like so much of our lives were intertwined.
Yeah.
Like not only were we friends and would hang out a bunch, but I do think that the parents did a good job at like, oh, like I can drive your kid to soccer practice if you can't that specific day. Like our kids might not be on the same team. That might be a little inconvenient for me, but like it's no problem.
Yeah.
Like I really got an intro to that way of thinking and just like being there for your neighbors and like lending a helping hand when someone needs it. So yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about the carpooling thing because I grew up carpooling like my entire life to school basically. And that is true. Like our parents did a great job, I think, of like, can you take the kids today? I have a meeting.
Yeah.
I've got a week off work. I'll take them every day. Like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And those things are like, you don't necessarily notice them until after the fact. Obviously, it's not like I'm not in this text conversation with them. It would just kind of be like, hey, who's driving this morning? Until it was me driving.
Yeah.
And then that was a whole different.
Because like as a kid, it's like you don't think about it. It's like, oh, this is just convenient.
I just have to go to school.
But that is community. Like that is like people kind of cross-referencing their schedules to make something work for everyone.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's kind of that feeling of community that I had an introduction to at such a young age. That's something that I feel like I've carried with me into my adult life. And when it came the time to kind of like build this community of my own or like, you know, put in a little bit of extra effort into meeting people and creating that structure for myself, like that's something that I always thought about. I also think about like watching, this is such a weird example, but like watching Friends and like seeing how they just like walk into each other's apartments. And like that's also a feeling that I'm chasing of like just being so comfortable.
Chasing? You've got it, bitch. Well, you walk into my apartment 24/7.
I got it. I got the feeling.
I made it.
I can stop now.
Like walk into my apartment and do my dishes.
Yeah. Okay, well, maybe not that part of it. But I think that's like another thing that I was craving with the cafe when we first started out is like creating this space where my friends can just like actually chill and like not feel like
pressure of any sort.
Pressure to show up in a certain way. They can really just like, I don't know, we've said this before, but one of our friends just like takes a nap every cafe on the couch and like, that's his routine. And like just having a space that people feel comfortable in.
The cafe being a space that people are even comfortable enough to come to like hungover and not put together with no intention of talking to anyone, just an intention of being there to like be part of it, like be part of the community and be maybe taken care of a little bit. Nurse back to health. Like that's a lovely concept.
Yeah.
But again, talking about something that like we, you know, like I would say that this cafe is a community. We built this community. It's now has legs of its own. Going back like before that, before the best day of your life when you met me, like
God, I can't even remember life.
I know it's hard
then.
to go back.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
why would I want to?
Why would you want to?
Anyway.
But before then, like what were things that you did to help fill that like lack of community? Mm-hmm. Because I know we both kind of went through a period where we didn't really have a community in this city.
Yeah. I think this kind of gets into like my advice or just like general advice,
like just thoughts,
for creating
advice,
community
tips
that like you can kind of always turn to no matter what your situation is.
Okay.
I think the number one thing would be to introduce your friends to each other. I think I've experienced or like witnessed people being weird about gatekeeping their friends. I don't know if you've experienced this, but like this idea of like, okay, that's my friend. I can't introduce this person to that person because that's my friend.
And
or like
then they're gonna become
this
friends
is one bubble of my life, and like I can't mesh like my coworkers with my like, I don't know, rugby friends.
Because you have so many rugby friends.
I don't play rugby. That was just an example. But you know what I mean? Like these different pockets of your life can mesh.
My coworkers, I'm self-employed with my rugby friends. I don't play rugby. Like
this is a general like example.
It's a real fantasy land you've got going.
Victoria has 5 friends from her rugby team
and 8 coworkers in her cohort at work. Like,
how many friends does she have? Don't ask me.
Victoria's answer would be 87. Anyways,
it's a nuanced answer. Anyways,
there's layers to that.
But all that to say, I think if you have friends from these different areas of your life, it's okay to introduce them to each other, especially if they're people that like, oh, like I might have 2 friends that are really into the same like hobby. Mm-hmm. And like, of course they would love bonding about that. Or like these 2 people that have the same type of sense of humor. Of course they would get along. Like, why not introduce them?
Yeah.
I think that I've always felt that kind of weird when people are like, oh, like,
gotta keep these people separate. Yeah.
Yeah. And also I feel like I only really had this really strong community in my life when I started introducing people to each other.
Well, yeah, because you start like filling out the web, you know, like
and it brings me so much joy when like I see my friends that I've introduced getting closer and like becoming friends on their own. Like I think if you are a good friend, that should bring you joy, you know?
I would agree, because I mean, why gatekeep? Like, you
don't gatekeep.
And I would hope that like in turn you'll get the joy of like watching the people you love get to hang out with the other people that you love, and then you're probably going to meet someone else that you love, and like it really is a web. Like it grows like that. So I completely agree. And I think that's like been one of the best outcomes of the cafe. Because people have just like, we have our entire little pocket of friends over in like St. Henry area of the city who like, do you remember when they like all went on a walk together last week or 2 weeks ago or something? And it was like,
that's really cute.
This is adorable. You guys like, not you shouldn't know each other, but like before this, you did not have a reason to know each other.
No, totally.
Like there was no string connecting you.
I know.
And now you guys are just going on a walk.
No, I love that shit. And it's like, if we take that example, like Celeste is one of my friends that I've known like actually since I was 4 years old. We went to like every single school together, basically, like elementary, high school, university. And then Gab is like a coworker who I met at working at a bakery. Like, you know, like typically those 2 people in your life wouldn't really meet maybe. And I just love that shit.
Yeah. I think it's great. Now, something I think like that can happen, especially if you move to a new place, would be like, you don't necessarily have friends to be introducing to each other. Like
so true.
You might not know anyone because you might be brand new. So in that situation, I think that my like tip or advice that I would tell myself again if I found myself there again, because I think about my first like year living alone in this city post grad. Even though I knew the city, I was living a little further from where I used to live. Like I was still in the same neighborhood, but it was still a different part of the neighborhood. And I had different routines and life looked a bit different. So something I would tell myself then or remind myself of was like, if you build a routine in this place and you kind of make the effort to be a repeating character in certain places, like whether that is your grocery store, one of your coffee shops, a gym, those sorts of things, if you put in a bit of effort to be part of that community, you will likely get something out of it. Like you will likely feel a bit more there. Totally. And that can be something like as simple as like it would bring me joy when I would go to the grocery store at 7 p.m. on a Tuesday and see the same people that I saw at 7 p.m. the last Tuesday. I don't have to interact with them, but it's nice to see that you are part of like a bigger thing happening around you of like, oh, we're all probably grocery shopping after work.
Yeah, and we all have our routine.
Yeah. We don't need to know. Like, I just feel like I'm here a bit more than when I'm just like, every week maybe I'm going at a different time to a different grocery store and I don't know anything and I don't know anyone and nothing is familiar. Like, to build a bit of familiarity, even if it's like, oh, that cashier seems to work evenings. That's nice. There's not something new everywhere I turn. So that's one that I like. Same goes for coffee shops. Like,
it's like building that sense of familiarity.
Exactly. Making it feel like the place that you are is a place that you know.
Yeah.
Even if it's like quite surface level, that's okay.
Yeah. You
like,
gotta start somewhere.
Exactly. You have to start somewhere. So same goes for like coffee shops. Get to know the barista. Whether you actually like get to know them or you just like know who they are. More than enough.
Totally.
And then like going to a gym. I mean, I had never really felt much of a community ever going to a gym prior to right now. But I love the gym that I go to now, and I have friends.
Yeah.
Like I have my
gym friends.
I have my gym friends.
Yeah.
And my gym friends are, I actually don't really know much about them, but like I love that every morning.
But you don't need to. You're still like hanging out with them. You're still like, good morning.
Exactly. Good morning. You know? How was your weekend? Or on Fridays, it'll be great workout. Good job. Have a great weekend.
Yeah.
And it's like.
It doesn't actually need to be much more than that.
No. And like I get little tidbits of their lives every now and then. And that's like cute and wholesome and nice.
Yeah.
And.
I love that.
It's a mini little community. But I like it. It brings me like. Comfort.
Yeah, totally. It also kind of makes me think about like there is a grocery store / like health food store near us, and I always kind of run there when I'm like in a pinch, like I need something specific or like I realize I don't have anything to make lunch and I will like go there really quickly. I'll never bring like a bag to put my shit in, and I always kind of end up buying more than I need. So I leave with like my hands like so full of shit. Every time I feel like I like reach new record levels of what I can carry back from there. But it's kind of this ongoing like little bit that I have with, there's like a couple of cashiers that are always working whenever I go there. And it's like, yep, still don't have a bag today. And like, I don't know their names. We don't really chat much.
Yeah.
Most of the time when we chat, it's about me not having a bag. And they're just like kind of like laughing at me every time.
Yeah.
That is funny.
It is.
And I enjoy it, you know?
Yeah. And I think like there's no harm in before you maybe actually know these people and know who they are and like can have, if you even get there, if that's something you want, like relationships with, I mean, it doesn't need to be with your barista or your cashier
yeah.
but until you maybe meet people around you, I think it's nice to sometimes have a sense of who's around you, even if it's like a little fictional. Like I kind of love how, you know, we talk about our neighborhood and we're like, our neighborhood has all these characters And like, we don't know these people, but we see the same people and we come up with like who they are.
Yeah.
And I think people probably do the same thing. I think those cashiers probably do the same thing about you.
Yeah.
Every Thursday after we go to our HIIT class in the morning, like we go show up at the coffee shop sweaty and we sit and we like have coffee. I wouldn't be surprised if parents who are dropping their kids off at school see us and they're like,
those are those sweaty
those
bitches
are those
again.
gross stinky girls. Can they leave already? Like, I guess it's Thursday again. And like, I don't think it's like a bad thing. I think it's kind of sweet when you can kind of construct these little narratives about people. Obviously they're like nice in your neighborhood, because it's like, it's characters. It's adding characters to this place that you don't know all that well.
I agree.
And then honestly, it's even funnier when you like get to know the people and maybe all of a sudden you're like, oh, I thought you were literally that TV show character in my mind. Turns out you're nothing like them.
Yeah.
So.
But Carmi is Carmi.
But Carmi is Carmi. But the Carmen Burzotto of our neighborhood is Carmen Burzotto.
Anyway.
Yeah.
We won't get into that. Story for another time. But yeah, I think like getting to know your surroundings and like noticing things, that's a great, I think that like also kind of creates a ripple effect too. Like if you can feel comfortable and like a little bit more familiar with what's around you, maybe that will give you the confidence to spark up a conversation with somebody that you normally wouldn't.
And it's
or
not
like
easy.
A little bit of, no, it's not. It's so fucking hard.
It's especially, I think about like moving to a new place. You know, we have friends who just moved to London and I watch them go about their lives and I'm like, they're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Like they are going places and they're meeting people and like, I'm so proud of them for doing that.
Yeah. And I think what's frustrating when you're new to a place, I think back to when I had first moved to Montreal and I was trying to make new friends. I feel like it's easy to get set on a certain timeline of making friends, of like being in your head about like, oh, I've been here for 6 months and I don't have friends yet. Or like, I know I thought that way at least. And I think you just kind of need to trust that it's going to happen when it happens and like when it needs to happen. Kind of similar to that, I would say talk to your neighbors and not just like people that you,
Not just me.
not just Kate.
I think my suggestion would be like, talk to your neighbor. Like my neighbor Victoria is great. And she's actually the only person I talk to.
Well, yeah, because I'm on a
Talk
leash
to your
that-
neighbor on a podcast.
But talk to your neighbors. I feel like this is, again, not groundbreaking stuff. These are the people that live most immediately to you. It feels very obvious, but I think especially when you live in a city, it can be so easy to not get to know your neighbors. And by getting to know, I don't mean like you have to be best friends with them.
No.
I just think it's good to know who lives near you.
It's nice to have someone that you could like feel comfortable enough going over to in like a power outage and being like, do you have any batteries?
Yeah,
That sort of thing.
Totally. My next door neighbor is a very sweet older lady, and I get to practice my French with her, and she's very artsy, and I love chatting with her.
She's wonderful.
She's really sweet. We share a back balcony, so I feel like we chat with each other the most during like spring, summer, when we're both back out there. But she's given me some of her art before.
Plants. I have a plant.
She propagates some of her plants for me. I've made like an apple crumble for her before. And it's just really awesome. And I think like if I was very closed off to connection and I didn't give her the time of day, or like I didn't really like explore this connection, I wouldn't have this relationship with her. Again, we're not that close.
No, but it's like you were open to it, and you don't have to be that close. That's not always the point.
Yeah. I think it's also just good to know that your neighbors aren't fucking weirdos.
Well, yeah.
One of my neighbors is a weirdo, though.
One of your neighbors is a weirdo.
And I know that because I talked to him. And I discovered that he's a weirdo.
Uh-oh.
But anyways.
They can't all be good.
They can't all be good. But even if you speak to your neighbor, you discovered that they're a weirdo, at least you know.
And also then they're like a bit of a character.
Exactly.
Like it goes back into character territory where you're like, okay, so I talk to my neighbor on the left, like I do not talk to my neighbor on the right.
Yeah. By the way, the reason that my neighbor is a weirdo is because he used to complain a lot about me making too much noise. And by making too much noise, I mean like vacuuming on a Sunday at noon. He would complain about that.
Oh.
I'm whispering so that he can't hear me. And hopefully he doesn't listen to this podcast.
Hopefully.
Anyways, I do think just like knowing your neighbors generally is a good thing. Mm-hmm. I always like to think about like if I really needed an egg or sugar if I was in the middle of. You don't like this example.
I don't like this example because
I do like
I'm
this
going
example.
to the dep. I'm not going to my neighbor.
Okay, and maybe you should get to know your neighbor a little bit more. What if the dep was closed?
I know my neighbors.
My example,
I'm watering my neighbors' plants this winter.
Okay, so then you can cough up the courage to ask them for an egg.
They're out of town. They don't have eggs.
Okay, sorry. Bad example. So
I would ask my neighbors for eggs. Don't worry.
Can I say what I was going to say?
Yeah. I ask you for eggs all the time.
Yeah, because that doesn't count though. I think that a good benchmark of like, are you comfortable enough with your neighbors is to ask yourself if you would ask them for an egg, like in a pinch, if you really needed one, if you were in the middle of baking something or the store was closed or for whatever reason you couldn't get to getting eggs or sugar or whatever it is. And I would feel comfortable knocking on my neighbor's door and being like, "Allô? Est-ce que vous avez des œufs?" You know? I just think it's a good like practice. And like if the answer is no, like that's okay. But maybe let's get a little bit more comfortable with our neighbors.
Yeah.
Because I think it's something that we've lost in a sense.
Now, don't get too comfortable.
Don't get too comfortable with your neighbors.
But
because then you might be sitting on a couch with them, starting a podcast.
We can't all be doing that.
No.
No, we're not going to be special.
we can't have too much competition.
And I think the neighbor thing is hard when you live in cities too. It's like when you live in apartments. Mm-hmm. I think we're lucky that in Montreal, a lot of the apartments are like walk up kind of, you share, what would you call that? Staircases and like doorways almost.
Yeah.
Or
and balconies. And,
yeah. And I think about like, you know, me and my neighbor have doors that face each other, and like, you know, we share the space outside where like our shoes go and like things like that. But then I think about when I lived across from the park.
Right, when you're like in an apartment.
That was like a building. And it was like, I didn't know anyone in that building. Yeah. I met one guy one time because he was like kind of throwing a fit because they like turned our water off or something. And we like both happened to be out in the hallway, or he came and knocked on my door or something to like have me sign some like building wide petition to like have them stop turning off our water or something. And I was like, who are you? Weirdo. Yes, I'll sign it because they've turned our water off a lot lately.
I'll sign your petition, but first do you have an egg that I can borrow? First,
if I were to ask you for an egg, what would you say? But yeah, I didn't know anyone, and like I just don't even feel like I saw anyone. Like sometimes I would like, you know, carry my bike down the stairs and like accidentally hit someone I was walking past, but like that's not community.
No.
That's
assault.
Like that's like bullying.
Yeah.
It's bullying in the hallways of my apartment building.
Yeah. So basically the takeaway is that Kate has homework to do to be a better neighbor.
I'm a great neighbor.
Maybe like stop hitting people with your bike and like start asking them for eggs.
I think I'm a great neighbor. I think you can ask my neighbors. They're out of town, but you can ask them.
So as your neighbor,
I don't know if it's advice. I think like maybe it's an idea, and something that I've wanted to do when I feel like I have time and like energy and whatever. Someone told us about a dinner party where like maybe I invite like 3, 4, 5 people, whatever, but then each of those people can bring like, it's either someone who no one else knows, or I think what I prefer is the idea of that person bringing like a new friend of theirs, or someone that they want to like get closer with, but you kind of like I don't know, like hanging out with someone for the first time alone, like one-on-one, can feel a bit daunting. But I love this idea of like, oh, I'm going to a dinner party. I'm supposed to invite someone that like I want to get closer with. Hey, person, do you want to be the person who comes with me? Yeah. Like, that's one big old compliment. If someone said that to me, I would be like,
yeah. You want to be closer with me?
Like, yeah. Okay, that's so lovely. And you're going to introduce me to your friends. And on top of like meeting 5 of your friends, I'm going to meet 5 people that those friends want to be like closer with. So anyways, point being, dinner party, I think, is what it is, where you kind of invite those people. And I just love that idea because it's like, it's a lot of people and lots of people who don't know each other, and like obviously could go well, you could leave with like no new friends, but I think it's kind of like a fun
exercise
concept.
Yeah
I
agree.
That's one. And then I mean it's winter again, but like for the brief moment where it didn't feel like winter, I was like lost my chance on this. Like soup nights. Again, I'm not the biggest soup eater, so like I don't know if this is catered to me. Maybe I'd prefer like pasta night, but I've heard some of our friends talk about it. Like either one person makes a gigantic thing of soup and it's just like open door soup policy. Like you can just
bring your own jar,
come over and either like have a bowl of soup. You can bring some soup home. You can hang out. Very similar to the cafe, honestly, in that sense. Or like maybe you all make a soup and then you soup exchange. Yeah. Like those sorts of things.
I love stuff like that. I love the idea of making a really big batch of something and splitting it.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like cookie exchange to me.
Totally.
Like I think that's the most genius idea ever. If everyone can show up with like a small batch of something that they've made and then everyone leaves with more variety. I feel like that can be translated into the soup idea, or just, you know, everyone cooking together and you show up with an ingredient.
Yeah.
Like, love that shit.
Yeah.
And I have been threatening for us to do a pasta night, a pasta sauce night. So at the end of the summer, we're going to have to put that on the calendar.
Yeah, we are.
This specific topic kind of does remind me that, like, I think it's worth mentioning, women are the heart of, like, a lot of communities. Like,
oh, yeah.
They are running that shit. You think a man is organizing a soup night? No. Sorry. For the most part. Like, growing up, it was always, like, the moms organizing shit and, like, doing the cookie exchanges, and hats off. And how lucky we are to have such a wonderful community of women who do those things out of, like, the love in their heart and the love for each other, not societal pressure and like stereotypes. No, yeah, totally. To do it. That's and I said that with,
I
with
know.
that in my heart.
Yeah.
And you saw that.
I did. I understood.
Thank you for clarifying.
Of course.
Not because it's their role, but it's because I think it's something that naturally women are just like creators of community.
Yeah.
Final thoughts on creating community are, I think it always feels scarier than it actually is. I hope that this conversation is just a reminder that like small steps can create a little bit of a ripple effect, or at least make you feel more comfortable in creating community.
Make you feel more connected.
Yeah. And also maybe just to be patient. This stuff happens over time. You know, when I didn't have community in my life, I felt like it felt like so long that I was without it. But it's so rewarding when you finally find it and when you put the energy into creating it and it comes back to you in that way. So last piece of advice would be to be patient with it.
Yeah, it's a good one. Order of the week?
Order of the week. I wrote mine down. I'm forgetting it. Hold on. Oh, kind of random. Casey Musgraves. I'm having like a little bit of a resurgence of like resurgence.
Yeah.
The other day I had like such a strong need to listen to, what's that album called?
Golden Hour.
And
is it Golden Hour?
I think it is.
The one with Golden Hour on it and like High Horse and Slow Burn and
yeah. hold on, I want to fact check. Yeah, Golden Hour.
Yeah.
But honestly, like any of her stuff, I'm having just like such a moment with Casey Musgraves right now.
That's really funny because Casey Musgraves was on my 2018 playlist.
Oh my God, maybe I should just listen to your 2018 playlist and then I could see which single Casey Musgraves song you were listening to.
Of that year, I think. Or 2019. I don't know. You can go look.
Okay, I'll take a look. Yeah. Anyways, my order is literally just Casey Musgraves.
I would like to do a bit of spring cleaning. That's my order of the week. I think maybe it's time that I can put some of my like heavier sweaters away.
That's also on my to-do list.
So I think that would be nice and hopefully would make me feel a little like less stuffy in my apartment. Kind of like
more prepared to welcome in spring.
Yeah. I don't mean like whatever the fuck is happening outside right now is not spring, but you know, I think it would be nice to kind of do a little bit of spring cleaning. Not a lot. Trust me. I'm not doing a lot.
Anyways,
and with that, I think we're done here.
I think we're done here.
Okay. Well, have a lovely day.
Love you, neighbor.
Love you, neighbor.
Love me some sugar and maybe an egg, please.
And also maybe some batteries because I am your neighbor.
And my power just went out and I'm all out of eggs. Please. Okay, bye.
Get out of here.